mentioned this a couple of times, but the difference between Eris and Kela, where we're speaking about till now and speaking now, is that Eris, that he's speaking until the member of Adam Kiyah, Eris is this Galus HaMakar, this Galus HaEtzim. See, this Galus HaEtzim is also in Tzir, but Akapanim is in the Nekuda of his Galus HaMakar, which the Makar, the Etzim is Pasha B'talas HaPshitis. It's not eating of Elam, it's not eating of Metzias. Mashenk in Kalim, the idea of Kalim is not, the idea that Kalim expresses is not that the Lakus is mispashit, that the Makar is everywhere. The Nekuda is different word. The Nekuda is that the Amitas HaMetzias is a Lakus. The truth of Metzias, from the point of view of Metzias, also you come and from its point of view it's Batal Telekus. That's a different Indian. That Chachma Guf is Indian Alaki. Ches is Indian Alaki. That's a different Tnua than so the Sheirish of Elamis, the Sheirish of the Elamis is a certain form of reality. So the Gidra Metzias, that's Kalim. In other words, the idea of the Eibishter or Bittul Telekus and Iskashas Telekus, it doesn't only stem from the fact that that the Eibishter is everywhere, that he's Mispashat Amir, but also from the point of view of Metzias Kaviyach. So the Shlema Sa'in Seifs, he also has this Indian that his truth and the idea of Alakus is not only limited to the fact that to his Ispashtus. Metzias is also in Alaki. Chacham is in Alaki. Ches is in Alaki. That's different ways of expressing, but that's the idea. So that's why he says in the beginning, when we speak about, it's not Shaykh Lasek, Atzilis, we're speaking about Metzias of Chacham and Chesed, or you say in the Nefesh, it is V'kelim. So you have the Kech Chacham and Kech Chesed. Chacham is Indian Afshi, it's not a, but what's the Chacham? It's not, before we're talking about the person being mispashet, the person expressing himself through Chacham. Chacham itself, Seichel itself is a Kech HaNefesh. Before we're talking about the person being mispashet in Seichel. So that's brings out a certain Maila that the Nefesh is, that, okay, there's different ways of saying it, that Dafka Nefesh has Chachma. If you want Chachma, Dafka the Nefesh possesses Chachma. That type of Maila. So for any virtue that you're looking for, the source of all virtues is the Eibishter. So we're not dealing with Pshita Samag. Any idea that exists, the truth of that idea or that idea stems from the Eibishter. That's a different Indian. You're looking for Chachma, the true Chachma is Nalakus. Or the true good is Nalakus. That's not the Nekud of Eir. The Nekud of Eir is not that the true Taiv is Nalakus. The Nekud of Eir is that the Etzim is Mispashet in Alifan. Not that the true good is by the Eibishter. Or the source for any mile is him. That's not the Nekud. That's not the Nekud that's brought out in Eir. Eir is that the Makar is not Chachma and not Eir, but he's Mispashet in all ways. Then this Indian of Kalim is that Metzias is a Kali for Alakus. That's a different Indian. That Chachma v'Chesed stem from the Eibishter. That's a whole different Nekuda. Is that Indian? So he says that's why he was in So when does that idea start? When is there Vu Heipzachana Makar for a musik of Chacham v'Chesed? Even though we're dealing with Atzilus, we're not dealing with Chacham v'Chesed, which is outside of the Eibishter. Not Stam as a mile of Seichel. The whole Chacham that Atzilus is not a mile of Chacham. That even Chacham is a Keli. That's the whole content of Chacham and Atzilus is that Chacham is a Keli Telikus. The whole idea of Chachma is to express that true Chachma is by the Eibishter. That's the whole idea of Chachma. It's not like the way it is in Avraham. There's an idea of Chachma. And someone could say that the true Chachma is entire. The whole idea of Chachma, to begin with in Atzilus, is that the Eibishter also has the Shleimus that anything you want is rooted in him. Chachma is a Maila, and the truth of this Maila is Nelukus. So this in his only Shaykhs when there's a musik of a Maila of Chachma. Shaykh to say a gather of Chachma v'Chesed, a gather of a certain form of being, a certain form of Metzias. So that's not Shaykh Lifnei Etzim. In order for it to be a Metzias which is not the Etzim, which that's what we're doing, there's Chachma v'Chesed. We're saying that even Metzias which is not the Etzim, even the Metzias which is not Kaviyachol suited with the Eibishter, even the truth of that is also Lukus. You understand what I'm saying? Even something which is not him is also a Keli for him. Or something which is, that's the idea of Kalim. Even something which is other than the Makar, other than the Etzim, Tzir, Gvul. Even from the point of view of Gvul, stems Bittul Talikus and stems Akar Nalikus. So for that, you need to have a gather of Gvul, a gather of Tzir, which is not the Makar. So that's only Shaykhis for that. So the initial state for that Indian is L'achar Tzimtzum. Mitzad is Tnu of Gila and his Galus HaMakar, there's only the Makar. Everything's in him. There's no musik of a gather of a reality which is not him. A gather from Mitzias. That's Mitzat Simsum. And the Aschole is the Indian of Adam Kadmon. Adam Kadmon says that's the Adar I and Goli. Mahalt the Dominion. I'm not going to just speak what what's negate further is he's Mahalt in Ratz and Goli. That's not negate us, but he says the dogma that he speaks about Ak is Ratz and Goli. Should we maybe just see this part over again? Where did we start on Thursday? We started from. But was even last. We started Thursday. Oh, that's where we started. Okay, so maybe it's kedai to just for the Hemshech, it's kedai to go through this nukud. So he says that now, in order to understand that Atzilus Adam al Elon Gabi Ak, you have to understand what's the Milo of Ak and how Atzilus is Adam al Elon Gabi Ak. So he's Mazra Kama Pratimir. But before that, he says there's Machshavei Allah and then there's Machshavet Atov. You learned this Aderech Mashal. There's Pratimir, but even closer than Nekuda is, I'll just say about 1 point. That's Negeh for the Hemshech. He says, maybe we learned this some more, but in Chassidus it says that Adam Kadmon is Al Derech Nefesh Neisekeiches. Or here it brings a mashal of Ratzin, that it's an in of Ratzin Goli. In Ratzin, there's 2 points that's negate to bring out for the Hemshech. When you speak about Ratzin, there's two aspects in Ratzin. So on one hand, there's the yachas of Ratzin when a person wants something, or when a person or other kechas nevesh when they relate to something. A person understands something, or a person feels something. So a person understands. Understanding means that you are taifis a chelik of the thing. There was a yichud now. There was a certain connection formed between the mizbeinin and the seichel of the inyan. You understand the logic of something, so it's the logic of the thing. If someone is like something, so you like the good of the thing. There's something from the chayfetz in the seichel when you're being mizbeinin bedavar or in the midas. When a person wants something in the ratzin, there's no chelik of the thing. It's not trying to say that when you want the part of the thing. There's no part of the thing you want. So on one hand, the nefesh is mufshet from the thing that he wants. When you're understanding something, it's the keich haseichel. So the keich haseichel now penetrated in something. So penetrated means that this inyan is he's connected to this inyan. There's this logic of the inyan. And with the Koyach HaSeichel, you're able to connect, you're able to relate. They say, Kol Chush Tevis Mokshe. So to touch the Chelik HaMishish of the Indian, that Yad is Mamashish the Indian. The voice, you have to hear the voice. The sight of it, it's Marda, you see. There's in the Koyach HaNefesh also. The type of the thing that you take with Midas, or the fact that the thing is a Davarneir, or whatever the thing is. The Seichel of the Indian you take with the Havan of the Indian you take with Seichel. Mashiach in Ratzin, you're not taking any chaylik. So all of the Koyach HaNefesh, you're in a state where you relate to the chayfetz. There's a similarity between you and the chayfetz, and in Mela there's a connection. In Ratzin, there's nothing. You have no shaykhs to the chayfetz by Ratzin. It's not like you have a person who wants to learn. Let's say it's not the pshat that in the true Ratzin. We're talking about Ratzin, not Pitam, Ratzin Shalmalim. Ratzin, which is the Mashiach HaNefesh itself. It's not that the nefesh is mitzuyer according to the chayfetz. When a person wants something al Pitam, so you have a reason why you want to learn, because you see yourself as a learner. So that's not pitam. That's your reitzit because the nefesh is connected to that inyan, because you relate to that inyan. So that's not pitam. This inyan is seichel, and you relate to seichel. Or the person wants to have a double tape, so he is the chayvetz is kach v'kach, and his nefesh is masim to that tzir. That's not pitam. Ratzin Shemalim Mitam is there's no dimion between the nefesh and the davar shereitzit. There's no. I don't want the thing because the thing has a value. The nefesh is nimshachtit. The nefesh is mufshet from the tzir of this thing. But the nefesh is still deirish. The nefesh is reitze, I say davar. You understand what I'm saying? So it's already, on one hand, Ratzin is already a mucker that sometimes Ratzin is called Pchinas Kadmin. That's Adam Kadmin, he says over here. What's called Kadmin? There's, you say the aschol of something, or Kadmin is akdomet. So the Rebbe Tesh Kadmon once says akdomet to something. The akdom is not the beginning. Is not the beginning of the thing. It's not the aschala. It's introduction before you begin. There's the sefer itself. You're starting to the beginning of the Sefer itself. Reish HaSefer. Then there is the Akdam. Before you enter the Sefer, we give you a certain introduction. So it's before the thing, but it's a something which comes as Akdam, as before the thing. Adar I Ratzin. Ratzin is not a part of the Chayfetz. Ratzin is the will for it. See, a person, even in Ratzin Apitam, you have this. In the Tnu of Ratzin Gufa, even if a person, most of the sentence that we have is Ratzin Apitam, but in this aspect, you have a person wants something. The person can be a person which wants a chveis taivas gashmis, or a person wants a chveis davar ruchni. A lower person is going to want to have lower things. A more edler person is going to want edler things. But the Ratzin is not edler and grubber. It's not trying to say a seichel could have an edler svara or a prasta svara, or a more refined sensitivity, or a more grubbe gefil, a more prasta gefil. But not such I have to say refined. Will is will. Will is you want something. Want is one tnua. The person which wants, so it's Ratzin Apitam, so the reason why you want this is because you relate to that. That's a different story. But in Shur Ratzin, the nefesh, which is mufshit from the tzir of this object which he wants, and he's nimshach. The nefesh is reitzah, not mitzatam, because this is all bertzoni to want this. The nefesh is not limited to one dafka, something which suits the it. It's a different union. He's reitzah. But so what's the mashal when we say that? What do we want to say when we use the word Ratzin Legabi? Saying Adam Kadvan. Adam Kadvan is before Tzimtzum. Not only there's no Mitzias Eilumis, there's no gather of Mitzias. There's only him. There's the Etzim. There isn't even a Ratzin. There isn't even a Makar in the most remote form of a Makar. You don't have different Tzimtzum. The whole musik of Eilumis is mufrich. Even as a Ratzin Eilumis is not shaykh. Even as Akdama, there's no Akdama to Eilumis. We're dealing with him, and he Hulav Hadi Uvein Zalasi. There's the etzim is ain't safe, and the etzim is not mugder, and the etzim is neisa hakol. It's a different story. Within him, there's everything, but a reality outside, other reality, a reality of chacham v'chesed, the etzim is ain't safe, and he's neisa hakol. There's no mitzias outside of him. Not even it's not trying to say a ratzin for mitzias outside of him. What's the initial beginning of mitzias? What's the adam kadman? The literal tash adam kadman. What's the initial beginning of mitzias? Not the severt mitzias. Severt Aratzin af Mitzvahs, Aratzin Gali af Mitzvahs. That's what begins Zachar Mitzvahs. So Aratzin Gali is in a way the initial beginning of something, but not in a regular way of Aschal. You understand what I'm saying? You say the difference between you speak about a shayrish of something. So you have the kernel of an ilan. Later you can't compare when it's in the most it's a potential state. You have a shayrish darten, and then it's going to be mispateach and a tree and a taste and everything. But the shayrish is the beginning. It's everything originates in the shayrish. The mitzias, the taste and the form and all the apple, the whole tree originates in the shayrish. But everything, the way it's in the shayrish is in the potential form. Adam Kadman is not that everything originates in Adam Kadman in that form, that it's the shayrish. Adam Kadman is mufshit from the tzir of the mitzias. He's mufshit, it's not chachma, not chesed. It's not everything originates. He's the way everything in a potential state. He's a ratzin for everything. So ratzin means he's not the haschol of chacham v'chesed. He's beyond chacham v'chesed. He's pshit. He's still meir pshitis, but pshitis in a way that there's a ratzin for eilus. Not you say the mashal the nefesh. You have the nefesh is mufshit from mitzias. The nefesh is pasha v'dalas pshitis, and it's ba'atzmei muhusay. There's no ratzin for anything. He's not in a state of demanding anything. Then you have his reitzah. Who's the he that's reitzah? The nefesh hapashat is reitzah. Not there's not. It's not that the nefesh began already a shaykhis the keichis the chacham v'chesed. The nefesh is still pashat. What was the chadash of the nefesh is that he's reitzah and he's deirish mitzias. That's takat simsim. You did it. There's already a beginning of the nefesh. You say the aschol of elam is being an inyan. The only thing that's in chadash and ak is that elam is an inyan. The mitzias is a the reality is an inyan. It's not. We're not in a state where the whole idea of something outside of a lakus doesn't exist altogether. But not that Adam Kadman already is the schol of the tzir of chacham v'chesed. It's a ratzin for them. It's that the fact that a lakus is reitza elamis. A ratzin for elamis, that a lakus is reitza elamis. That's already Adam. That's already a schol. Is that what I'm saying? He said before that ak is ain't safe ba'ashala, because ak is not if it's chacham. Ak is not chacham v'chesed. Ak is ain't safe. But it's ain't safe the way it's in a tnu of a ratzin le'elamis. In other words, the way ain't safe is already relates that that Elimus is an Indian legabe. There's a mile. The fact that Chachma v'Chesed are the fact that there's such a reality as something which is not the Makir, and they could express an Indian Eliki. That's the Chadosh and Aga. Not that he's that Chachma v'Chesed. Yeah, that's. See, that's his mechalik between. One of the problems that he says is that an Adam Kadmin, so he's the whole Havas is Bashva. You're saying that's another point. So one akoda is the Reitze is mufshit from the Prat Yatzir. So Mela in such a type of Ratzin, where you have a Ratzin Apitam, where the reason why you want that thing is because the Adam HaReitze, or the Nevesh is Hemshech, relates to that Chayfetz, relates to that topic. You want this because it suits your Mahus. So that's So in that case, why do you want to have that thing? Why a person wants $100? Why does he want $100? Because $100 has value Legabir. He's a person that this object has value Legabir. They're the same. This has this and this value, and he's a Adam. That's Ras Hapitam. Mitzad Tam he wants this thing. That means that this thing has a certain value. That mitzad its value he wants it. He's nimshach for it. So in that case, could you say that the whole 100 is Bashva? It's not Bashva because, first of all, in such a case, in such a case, if someone has a ratzon for $100 and he gets 50, you say that nothing wasn't smaller or a little bit wasn't smaller. You say a little bit wasn't smaller. Because why does he want to have the 100? Because the 100 has a certain value. So if he gets 50%, 50% is also, it's not nothing, it's better than nothing. So there you can't say that everything's Bashva. 75% is more than 1%. There's going to be dargis. So you have Elamus, you have Atzilis, and you have Bia, there's Elam Hazeh, and there's many things that happen in this world in Elamus. Reish Kol Dargan, Seif Kol Dargan. There's more chashiv. If you speak about the value of Elamus, there's more higher chachme, nidrika chachme. There's chachme Atzilis, chachme Bia, chachme Hachodesh. There's blig voldargis. There's an ak. Everything's bashva. How are things? If the ratzon was a ratzon apitam, if the reason why Oliver Tzene Elamus is because mitzias of chachme v'chesed, tzir is lefi erach kaviyachol the makir. Adam kadm is the elikus comes into a tzir where chachme v'chesed suits in kaviyachol. So in that case, chachme is higher than bina, and bina is higher than lower dargis. So then how could it be everything bashva? How could it be that atzilis and biyah is bashva gemur the gabayak? So here you say the Gabi Ak is a different word. The Ak is mufshit from the Adam Kadmon in the Ratzon, the Gabi Ak is the way the Kus is mufshit from the Tzir of Chacham Chesed. So there Ratzon L'Mishal Mali Mitam. You say, but a person wants to have $100 not because he's a person which the money has value to. Because Kach Oliver Tzeni. Kach Oliver Tzeni, the Nevesh is mufshit that Oliver Tzeni this and this Chayfetz. So in that case, he wants the 100, not because the 100 has value. That's what he wants. So you can have less than 100. His Ratzon was v'chana in Islam. If he wants it because this is what he wants. This is what I want. Not because this contains a certain value that you could have. At least you have not because this. So if you don't give it without 100, Hatar is garnished. And there everything's bashva. If in the Darg of Adam Kadmon it's nergesh that the whole Metzias Elamis, the whole Indian of Elamis is that kach ole beratzen, that's the Eibusher's ratzon zayin in Elamis. Not because the Lukus is in a mode where Chachma has value. He's higher than saying Chachma has value. There's his kavanah in Elamis. You understand what I'm saying? And so they're all Elamis are one akudah. This is the rationality. It's all bashva.
What way is it mufshit?
It's higher than the. What I'm saying is when you say mufshit, we're looking at a different time. When you say mufshit, it sounds like so he's not chachme, he's higher than sir, so he's pshittis. But I'm saying, I mentioned this just to bring a dugma. That brings this in the mimer of B'shah Shala. So this is not my. I'm saying, but that the Rebbe brings this. You have two ways of a makar. You have one way of a makar is that the reason why the makar is a makar for this teitzah is because the makar, you say seichel is melid midas. Why seichel? Why rocks don't come from seichel? Because seichel, it makes sense. In Yaniv, seichel is a hemshech. The seichel is going to be a midah. If you understand that it's good, it's going to result in in a regish towards the Indian. That's an extension. Then you have it, so that we understand that seichel is a makar for midas. If when you register something is good, it's gonna result in a midah. Mashenkin other things which don't relate to chavis. So you can have a svara which is mechay. A svara that something is good is going to be midas sava. A svara that something is a davar neira is going to be ma'ir yira. You're not going to say the same way as svara that's mechayiv that says that something's good is mechayiv a midas chesed. Al derez that svara. No, the svara that it suits for the svara that something is good suits that for that should result a midas sava. For the svara that something's chavis a davar neira, it results a midas sayir. Kayetz bezeh. But then you have a different way of being a makar. Al derech, like you say in Chassidus, that mayim, any image you can put against water, any color, or you say white, any image you put, water is easier dogma. Any image you're going to put against water, you're going to see that image in the water. So why, when you're person standing in the water, why is it that he's able to see, that you're able to put, that this image is not being visioned in front of the water? Because there's something in the water that relates to that image. Because the water has a shaykhs to that image. Because the water has no distinct image, since doesn't have any distinct color. The mela, any color could be reflected there. You have two ways of being a makar. If the makar is a davar mukbal, and then results from it only something which has a shaykhs to istzir. A svar lechesed is davar mukbal. It's a svar lechesed. Why does ava come from svar lechesed? Because the svara contains this result. It's shaykh to that in. That in is shaykh for the makar. So the makar is mechayiv things that come by Hemshech to it. But that's a makar, which the reason why it's a makar is he's a davar mukbal, and from him stem things which are shaykh to him. That's one ifin of a makar. Mashiach, if you have a makar al derech mayim, that not the reason why you could have any image being reflected on the water is not because the water has a shaykh to all the images, because he's not limited in images. He's not mukbal. The mele there could be everything. So you can ask, someone's going to ask a question. Since mayim are pshutin, or mayim have not tziyur, or mashal fakert, you have there's a chassid says negeta svara that you have a svara which is mechayiv chesed, which is mechayiv gvura. You have a svara itself is not limited in the tzir of chesed gvura. You could have the idea of yetzer leva adam ramen ora. That's a neutral idea. This idea could be used as a svara, therefore we should have rachmanas on him. And you could use this as svara ledin. This concept, yetzer leva adam ramen ora. A person when he's born, he has this concept. You could two svaras could be used from this concept. A svara lechesed, a svara lechesed. Why could this concept be translated in two ways? Because this concept is not chesed or gvura. This concept is a neutral concept. Yetzer leva adam ramen orav. It's a true notion. It's a true concept. Yetzer leva adam ramen orav. Now, what could you do with it? Or it could be a svara lechiv. Therefore, we should have rachmanas on him. We can't blame him. Or therefore, there's no worth from this. But the concept. Why could this concept bring? Because the concept is not this and not that. So we maybe could use it in any ways. It's pashut. So since the fact that this concept, this gedank that Yetzer leva adam ramen orav, the reason why there could be a sayas svara lechesed, sayas svara ledin, is because the svara is mufshit. In Midas, you don't have such an account. You say this: the feeling is a neutral feeling. There's such a thing, a neutral feeling. It's a feeling of kiruv, or it's a feeling of jichuv. There's no neutral feelings where it's attitude towards something, or it's a kiruv, or it's seichel. The seichel is presenting a concept. What are you going to do with this concept? Whether this concept is going to say to be mechayiv the Indian or not, that the seichel is highlighting a certain notion in a topic. What are you going to do with it? Seichel is not mukbal. So the fact that this svara mitzad atzma is mufshit from mitzir of chesed gvura. So if anyway the fact that the svara is mitzayir and chesed gvura is mitzad the pshitas of svara, so let there be red and green also from the svara. So if the fact that from the svara vert chesed gvura is because the svara is shaykh both to both tziyurim. So if the fact that water is because it's shaykh to both of these colors, it's only shaykh to these colors, not shaykh to others. But the chassidus mevar, the reason why you could have the same svara, it's mechayiv sayas svara ledin, sayas svara lechesed, is because the svara is mufshit. So if it's mufshit, anyway, the reason why it's mitzayir to chesed gvura is mitzad tzavshat, because it's not mugder. It's not mugder in a tzir prati. So let there be green and red. The same with the water. Then what's the answer? Even though it's not mugder, but not mugder means he's not mugder in a specific form. So any type of reality is going to stem from him. But something which is considered a inyan. As achvas v'chandish begeder ametzias is not, water is not mugder. In vas b'shteit the head of water. He's in the realm of colors. He has no color. Means there's a concept of color. He's in a world. There's in a mizgeres of mitzvahs. There's a concept of colors. but he doesn't have specific colors. He doesn't have any specific color. But maybe there could be any color, but there's like already a concept of colors, and in them bashtet is blik vol. So that doesn't we speak about Ratzon Adam Gabiak, Avad Adam Kadman. We're not. There is the pshitis that we live at Tzimtzum. There's no concept of Chacham Chesed. There's no concept of reality. Achrat Tzimtzum, there's a Ratzon for Eilumis. Means we're in already a state where there's a concept of Chacham Chesed. There's a concept of Mitzias. L'Poel and Adam Kadman, he's not mugdal in a specific form of Mitzias. There's no specific form. He's beyond any form of Mitzias. He's Pasha B'talas Pshitis. But it's not that mitzvah pshitis way as if the etzem pshitis lifnat tzimtzum. It's a pshitis that relates to Elamis. It's the pshitis that it's with that then it's not a pshitis which is mufshet legamri from the gather of mitzvahs. What did I want to bring out with this? Someone asked me something here.
How it's mufshet.
Huh?
How it's mufshet.
Lapel is not a specific form. But it's not, you say, Atzvos is Neisahakal. We're dealing within the realm of Metzias, within the realm of the we're dealing, there's a Ratzon for Elamus. The Ratzon itself is not, what's this kind of say a person wants something? When he's in a state of will, he's drawn towards that thing. That inyan is nothing. It's something. If it wasn't anything, what's he wants it? But the Reitze is not, doesn't have the Hagbalas of that form. The only thing that's Chadesh and Ratzon is that inyan is a concept, is a Metzias, the Gabav. But he's not limited in the specific darim of that Metzias. The fact that his right says a certain context, but the context is a general context. That the concept of that inyan is if he wants it, that means that there's episode of Haran. Starts in Elam, it's all different Indian. Ein Sof is the Ebeshem. You see, the Lifnat seems we're saying a different word. Not that there's a gather of Mitzias. We're not saying there's a gather of Chacham which is not Elukus, outside of the Etzim. We're saying there's the Etzim which is Ein Sof, and the Ebeshem's Etzim is not Mugbal. Within him there's everything. It's a different word. Within the Etzim there's everything. It's not a gather of Chacham of a Chesed, but. Saying Elamis is not a prat in the etzim. Elamis is a gather of chachma v'chesed. Lifnei tzimtzum, it's not a gather of chachma v'chesed. It's within the etzim has everything. It's a different word. There's no gather of a metzias, not the etzim. Huh? The whole inyan of Eshes Sfiris is that Ein Sof is not Mugdar Klal. Not that a concept of Chachma v'Chesed as an inyan as a reality of Gevul for itself. Any inyan that there is. Certain male. Lifnat Tzimtzum. Yeah, but it's not because it's not there's a male. Mitzad Ein Sof, he's not mugbal in blik vol. There could be vol too. It's all that he's not mugbal in blik vol. Can understand nechet blik vol. Saying it's all the gather of Elamis and the whole musik of Kelim is there's a Metzias, not the Etzem, which also Mitzad Metzias, which is Mechutz, also Mitzad Metzias. There's Izmechei Chapalakus. Also Mitzad Metzias is Alakus. This inyan Lifnat Tzimtzum, it's all a Metzias Nish der Etzem. You don't have Lifnat Tzimtzum. Saying that the etzim is kedel everything is neisa hakol. That's a different word. We're dealing with gvul as a musik of gvul, that it should be a gather of chachma v'chesed, not the pshitas etzim. What I'm saying is not the makir, chachma. Chachma in a way that's not within the makar that you don't have lifnei tzimtzum. Chachma is the etzem is blik vol. The etzem is mispashit. Oh, but there's all mitzad the prat and insof, not as a gather chachma chesed.
What it wants.
But everything is a prat in the head ragdar of alakus. It's not outside of the head ragdar of alakus. It's not nirgash as a musik of chachma. Yeah, that you're saying that.
Why is that guess?
We're in the Ratzin. That's not a shayla. The word is gvul. Why these eser? The kavanah is dafka these eser. I'm saying that's not the. Not because there's a mile of gvul difference. There's no mile of gvul difference. The head ragdar says it's a different. I'm saying is the whole mile of kalim that even from the point of view of mitzias. So the Nakuda is even not mitzad makar, even when you're kaviyachal detached of the makar, even mitzad the gather chachma. Livnei tzimtzum is nirgash the makar's ein sof, nish the makar nishtaz amusik. There's the inner air. Inner air is the galus of the bleak vul of the makar. Mitzad the bleak vul of the makar, there's no musik of not him. Mitzad the tzimtzum, mitzad the Hachodesh there's a mitzad the tnu of his pashtus. Everything's the Eibishter. It's nishtaz azach, nicht em. But etzem is also the thing, not him. Mitzad is ein sof. The whole idea of kelim is that also mitzad the mitzias, which is kaviyachol, not masim to him. Also mitzad the mitzias of chacham v'chesed is muchach and akodah bitter. Also mitzad elimis, let's say, elikus is muchach. A musik of not him, that's not lifnei tzimtzum. Even if the whole idea of not him is to express a certain mile of elikus, that's all. Kelim is not. But it's what type of mile is expressed through kelim. That even mitzad mitzias, also mitzias is batal. Dav zayin b'sazach, which is michutz la'etzem. So the tnu of Gilevius Pashtus itself, everything is him. So by the nefesh, see the nefesh l'chatchila is mobile. So you have his place, you have another place. Mitzad et kava gilui, ein sof is ein sof, and hu levadu vein zolasi. There's no musik outside of him. Mitzad tnu of his galus. There's no such thing chacham v'chesed. Was is chacham v'chesed? Nicht da zazach. Nicht da wegen was zu reden bechal. Say we're not saying the truth is that also tzimtzum is all there's the Hachodesh Shaleilah. It's not chayin. Elokus is not mugbal and kav lahar. There's also the Hachodesh Shaleilah. It's not the Yitzim and Ha'etzim is also all part of the Kav Shlei Lahar. It's also Allah is a beauty of the Shleima Sein Sof. But it's the Shleima Sein Sof, the fact that he's Yechid Shlei Lahar, from them Vert Kalim. Mitzad the Kav of Lahar, Mitzad Lifnei Tzimtzum, where there the Etzim is Meir Kameshu, so it's the Makar, it's the Hergesh HaMakar. An idea of not Makar that you don't have. Adar I says when you get to Ratzin Elam. Ratzin Elam, there's no mitzias of Melech and Bayis. There's no mitzias of Melech and Bayis. There's only a Etzem Hareitza. It's all Nelam Bay. There's no musik of Melech and Bayis outside of the Ratzin Nefesh. That he's a Reitza. There's no gather of Melech and Bayis. Caleb is a gather. There's a musik of a mitzias, which is not the market. You're going to that just the rest of the status, the rest the Gabi lifnei tzimtzum. Oh, so I'm saying that so this till achini says within the mashal. There's machshava ilah, machshava tata. Machshava ilah is where everything is one nekuda. Kolim is skarim is achas, and everything is bashva. And then there is machshava. Then there's machshava tata. Machshava tata already there is not the nekudas hametzias of everything. Machshava, in order for it to be chacham v'chesed l'payil, So you have to be miskarev to the realm of Chacham v'Chesed. The Machshav Elah is the right is mufshis from the tzir of Chacham v'Chesed. So there it's the nekuda of everything. But in order for there to be Chacham v'Chesed as a tzir of Chacham v'Chesed, that's Machshav that there has to be Yerida, the Pashtas. You understand what I'm saying? Machshav Torah is a person wants, let's say, mitzad the etzem nefesh is a ratzon lebayis. There, not because bias has a certain chshivas. Before, let's say, not right now, a person wants a bias. We're living in the world. A person without a bias, if he needs to have a place where to put a suitcase, he needs to have a bias. That's a ratzon al pitam. There, why does he need a bias? Because there's a certain value in a bias. So let's say if you give him 50% of a bias, he has a little bit of his ratzon. He's able to put half of his suitcase won't go wet. But the way the ratzon al bias is mushish betzem nefesh, there it's not before. You're not the etzem nefesh, not the way a person is limited already, that he needs to have a place to stay and he gets tired and he gets cold. It said etzem nefesh kol mishein the bias any other. Without having a bias, is nish kemensh. Before, not if let's say it wouldn't rain, he's ace mensch. A person gets wet, he's not a mensch. And let's say you're living in a place that you could live outside technically. Let's say there'd be no chayis rice that would come bother you. They're able to set yourself outside. Kol mishein the bias any other is that kitiferes adam l'shavas bias l'payal. That's the negate of shleimus adam. You should have a bias, not because there's a need. That's mitzad the nefesh. There's an inner bias. A nefesh needs to have a makif, not mitzad the chshivas of the thing. So there, then it's one nekuda bias. It says the gag and the kires and everything. It's not. There's no separate. It's one nekuda of a bias. You have a half a house. That's nothing. It's a house. The whole shleit mitzad. But mitzad there, so there's no shivas. This room or that room. It's the nekuda of house. The machshava tata is in order for there to be the mitzias lepayil. The mitzias lepayil is the chnana nekuda. You want the formation of the mitzias kipshutei. So you have to have a smakim to this room and that room. This room is going to be bigger. This room is going to be smaller. In the ratzin, the way it is be'etzem nefesh, there it's not nirgash these chulukim. Smaller, bigger. It's one nekuda. That's what he says till now. That you see, that's what he says till now. Okay, we can talk a bit weiter, or we have to clarify some. So I just want to say one more word about Lifnei Tzimtzum also. It says before Lifnei Tzimtzum, everything is called Bas Musay. Elam says we're not in the darga. So you have one eifin, you say that besides itself, there's no rules, there's no gedarim, can all sein. It's a different story. Not that there was a Hachodesh, a system. Besides itself, there could be a system. Not system. A system is all bashva. It's all sein zach. That's we're doing that. It's mere the makar kameshu. So the makar kameshu there's no gedarim. A elamis and kalim is that there's a certain system. There's mitzias, and mitzias is mechayev atzir of eser. That's the way the world is created. There's seichel amidus. There's no other form of relating to an Indian. There's no. This is the system. There's a certain. This is reality, and reality has its rules. That's his chadash tzimtzum. Lifnei tzimtzum is the makar. The makar is any mugdar klal. Any mugdar klal is nish kalim. Any mugdar klal can say about kalim mechet, but that's all the way it's made within the makar itself. The musik of Kelmas Mereda is we're not in a state of Eidim Mugdar. There's gather. There's a system of elements. There's what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. There's rules, and even mitzad the rules, even mitzad the mizgeres of gvul, they're kelim for elukus. Mitzad the tzir of gvul itself, that you don't have lifnei tzimtzum. Lifnei tzimtzum is the hergesh hamakar, the way it's mushlo from all Inyan. But as a Inyan for itself, there's a gather of gvul and a system. That is dafka achar tzimtzum. Achar is almost this pashas hamakar. So now there's space for a organized mitzias, with the mitzias with rules, not pshitas the way the makar of elukus is. And there's dafka the shleimus of kelim that even mitzias is a keli for elukus. Versteht ihr mich ein bisschen? Adar I is the way the nefesh is moved all the way is ba'atzmei. There's inyanim. So those inyanim we're not in, has nothing to do with, you say, look, a person has Ratzon Elam, L'Payil, he could live his whole life and not look for the thing that he wants. A person has Ratzon Elam, for a bias, L'Payil is never going to feel any need. Why? Because the whole Ratzon there is the way the Nefesh is mufshit from what the Pshat Ratzon is Darton. Has nothing to do with Mitzias. It's Mitzad built in Mitzias, there's things. Mitzad Mitzias hat es nicht. Al derech they say, the musig of spheres, the musig of Ratzon elements, the way it is lifted at Sinsim, that's all with in a darga where there's no gather klal, the way everything is there. Then there is a mucker for the aschala of system, of gather, of chachma, of chesed, of gvul. That's misad this almost a mucker. So now there's an mucker for a mitzvah of gvul. There's chachma and chachma. It's not chesed, chachma is chesed is not chachma. The musig of one thing is a stirah to something else. There's a system, and there's pshittis, there's tzir that you don't have the fnetzimtzah. That's inside shalei lahar, inside b'shas the mucker leicht nicht. So you could have a space for a mizgeres of chachma v'chesed. And that's also in the Likit. So I just bringing that even the gvul is in the Likit. It's a different story.
There's no chashid, even though there's Esther, there's no chashid.
Yeah. All this, Then verstehen wir, what's the pshat? Yeah. Yeah, but it's more than that. There isn't even a gather of Esther, really. A gather of Esther which is modal from Bligvul. There's no Esther that's benefit from Bligvul. There the Esther is in a way that it's not a stira to Ink Tzaf. The Musa that Esther is Seiser Pshitus. That's inside the system, inside the rule. That there's Gvul, there's Bligvul, that you don't have. This is Hergish HaMakar, that there's Yechel, there's Laharish, Leilaharish, Alza in Zaf. There's no Mizget, there's no a system of Metzias, you don't have the Fnetzim. But then the Hidra Rav said like this. Yeah, das ist verstehen, was sagt. Das ist eigentlich bei MS, einer Moschel dem in Nimshel. The Moschel that brings the Gabiratz, the Machshava Ilah, Machshava Tata. Just see the end. So Kmei Mashal Machshava said just the last two lines of the Kata before. Tchilas Machshava Kalel Sakol. And it's one akuted. Chak Shabbat the Machshava Dibra, Inzis Chashkim V'Hadam Al-Gil Levat. Ki kemad the bekhins azgaz b'shad in schach shia khvem sen mashal devan mishal khsib kolim machshavei se machshavei seich ki machshav shel adam av sheol machshavte kol abinyan ein machshav zu mahavo pe'elis mu'uma ato ba'alis machshav. Nothing is affected b'shaser trachting them rak shayidei ze yimshach chagach ledibur madibur lemais sheyiskr pe'elim v'yivnu like in the mal shemiyad ksheol machshav agduma lies is havas esses filis that still is brid tzir asiyah calling inside that biar miyad mamish is hava the machshava zu includes mamish machshava zu. So bezok le machshava machshava seichem. So machshava sadam any pel mu'uma. Shegamal shadiyah machshava nas is havas mamish. Shami bin mishulchan ali is like it's mission achak. Have to see is being fired prat. So the way Lashon says it here, it sounds like machshava machshava seichem. Also the Yibish's dibur is different than the person's dibur. What's the utik le machshava machshava seichem? Machshava shel adam tut of garnished, and the dibur shel adam also tut of garnished. What's the Bazil is bringing. And he says, "Can you even he goes, what's the East Hedges is later more for it." But the Nekuda is the fact that Dibur is stronger than our Dibur. That's not a question. So the Chiddush over here is that the reason why Machshava is not Mahava is because Machshava is the Indian is mufshit from there's two things. There's the Metzias Hadav. We say a person wants something, or a person is why when a person thinks something, so the machshava only exists within him, and why isn't the building going to be created because he's thinking about it? Because the machshava is too weak, or because the machshava is in him. In order for the mitzias to happen, so that you need to have something in the mitzias that should affect it. I want something. Within me, there's an interest for that thing. But how should the thing be? The thing is not me. How could the thing be affected by me? In order for the thing to be affected, there has to be a marker for the thing. Machshava or my ratzon is not since ratzon is mufshit from the Indian. The ratzon is his ratzon. There's nothing in the ratzon from the davar that he wants. So there's nothing within the realm of the thing that's causing it to be. Dibur is already there's you're mitzi the Indian lachutz. The fact that you want it, now you expressed it outside of yourself. So the fact that there's a marker for the Indian, this makar is affecting the mitzias. Masha'inkin, machshava is in me. So the fact that I want, how is that a reason that what I want? You want a thing, how could that thing happen? So the buyer person is his machshava taken to the garnish. It's only legabe him. What Oliver saying? This should be at Stil's B'riyat Tzir Asiyah. Even in Ratzin, he's mufshit from the tzir of Chacham V'Chesed. His ways in Ratzin. But mitzad the Oliver Tzmisulei Machshavei Machshavei. Mitzad Oliver Tzene is this havik varn alts. Mitzad the Ratzin itself. fire it more pratim.
Because it's not outside of him.
Huh?
Doesn't need to be outside of him. The world inside of him. It's not to go to his ones. There's no zone.
Yeah, he wants the mitzvah of Elamus, but I thought that
I'm saying that's the reason why.
Not the word that we're saying le machshavos and machshavos and that the Eibishter's machshava is taken not the Eibishter's machshava is taken in safe, and he's taken.
Not more to himself.
Yeah, it's a different a little bit. We'll see a little bit weiter in the Hemshech. He's not saying that. He's saying that Atzilus, the ganze Shtalshus Elam was Nishave mitzad machshava. What was Nishave mitzias of Elamus? Was Nishave, not him, not his ratzon. They have the whole mitzias of Elamus there. What's the mitzias of Elamus? That's his kavanah, and that's the whole mitzias of Elamus. The Eibishter's kavanah is not mugbal. So if the kavanah is Elamus, vertazeh. His kavanah is nishlam, but the kavanah is Elamus. This is not the way it is different. You understand? The Eibishter's kavanah, the machshav, the ratzon is not mugbal. If vil azeh vertazeh. Was ist der gewollt? The nekuda of Elamus, vertaka Elamus. He doesn't have to. The machshav doesn't have to leave itself in order for it to be Elamus. If this is what he wants, if Oliver saying there should be gvul, mitzad the ratzon verching gvul. If his will, his kavanah is, that's the way things are. His kavanah is Elamus, so there's Elamus. Well, what's the whole mitzvah of Elamus? The milei kavanah. Living at Sinsim, there's no kavanah for Elamus. There's the etzim. There's no ratzon lo Elamus. Here, there's already the way there's a ratzon lo Elamus in Olukus. But the ratzon is not mugbal. So if there's a ratzon lo Elamus, the ratzon is nishlam. Maybe he says more pratim here, but we'll see. I'm saying I'm just touching the. Can you miss the Sabbath princess? That's the second that seal is in this Hachodesh klal. Ma'achar shekvar hoye savusam ba'ak b'chinas machshava gduma. Kima sheyotzu v'nifretu achar kach v'izgalus in the Hachodesh klal. Ma'achar shekvar olam machshava kol zda'ak v'sav shamash. He says, "Zeh okeda aderis mirish, pirush reish b'chinasak, shniker reish Hashem shekele kol elam, smirish kol achayis kol akeres kulam b'reish, make him b'chinasak shekele kol elam shniker reish. Mercy come achar the ak b'chinas arich legabe elam sabiyah. Make him b'chinas arich ampedat zilis shniker reish makaratzis kol atzilis. Make him b'chinas ak shniker reish makar kol ishtash shekele kulam. That's keda aderis mirish. Deris is as a spheres. Shniker deris miloshin dori shuris. Chabat shirachas chagas shirabeis chulu. So what's the pshat keira deris mirei? She called this spheres van fein. How you cool them back? Mashanish for acharkach when it's gala nikr b'chinazu keira deris. B'chinas kriv amshach ha'elam lagili. K'mei odam akera lechaveri Reuven bodlekan. He tells him Reuven come here. Yibayis alachos aderech mashal. Kach amshach b'chinas that says ma'ako amshach ha'elam lagili levad. Let's just see this. Well, this he asked him derech shada v'teres, but this wasn't quite the way it says it over here. The way it says it over here. That's the mashmos, the way the Rebbe Shabbat can Yuvim is reflect ein machshavos and machshavosechem, that the Elam is the way they're all in Ak. It's just mehelim lagili. It's not a different eifim. So it's mashma that it's not like the regular way we speak about Ratzon Gali. That's the uftol machshavos and machshavosechem. Usually when you say that there's a Ratzon, you say Ratzon shel malam mitam. So there. You have the mitzias of 100 itself is 100, and in the realm of 100, 75 is more than 1, or 60 is more than 50. In the ratzin 100, he's mufshit from the tzir of 100. Mitzad the ratzin, it's all one akodah. So here, when you say that an adam kadmon, there's no chacham v'chesed. He's mufshit from the tzir of chacham v'chesed. There's a ratzin for seder shlashlis. But here he says that chachma that's nimshach natzilis is mehelim lagili. Chachma is nichlal within the machshav. The truth of chachma, the truth you have, it's not again to go into other problems. The nekuda is The fact you have Seder Shtalshalus, that's all because that's the Kavanah. That's the Ratzon. That's all that's the Ratzon. We're living in, we speak in Elamis, so you say someone has a Ratzon, Ma'am Tamadas for $100. Mitzad Ratzon, there's no value of 100. Mitzad Ratzon is the Nukud of 100. In the Nimshal, every aspect that exists within the world, the fact that Chacham is more than, the fact that Chabad is higher than Midas, that's all. That's a part. All a part of the Ratzon Le'elamis. The Ratzon Le'elamis is he wants mitzad his Ratzon that there should be a seder of Atzilus B'ri Yitzir, and Atzilus should be higher than Biyah, and Chachma should be higher than Bina, and it's all one akuda. That's all his Ratzon. You understand what I'm saying? Hishtashla is the way we know it. That's all Ola B'Rtzeini. So on one hand, it's one akuda because it's Ola B'Rtzeini. But by Lakus, Ola B'Rtzeini, what's Ola B'Rtzeini? Ola B'Rtzeini, the Metzias in a way that Chachma should be higher than Bina. And that's one akuda. When you say Bashva Achas, it's not a stirit than saying what's Bashva. On one hand, we're saying that is Bashva Achas, but Chachma, which is later Netzal, is just the Hemshech Elam Agili. Chachma Gufa was Nichla on the Makar. You see from the way you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying is serious. Someone has a Ratzon Malin Tamadas for on a kud of $100, and then there'll be an ishava from this Ratzon, a Metzias of 100. So it will be one akuda. There won't be ones there. It'll be one akuda. Here, what he says that Lema Shavis Machshav Yiseichem, it's the Ratzon Miyad Nesavu. What was the Kavanah is? Eilam is there should be one and then another one, and two should be more than one. There should be Gedarim of Metzias. That's the Ratzon. There should be Gedarim. Mitzad the Gedarim of Metzias that Tzilis is more Edo than Biyah. But the fact that there should be, that's all, and the Ratzon himself is mufshit from this whole inyan. But even though the Ratzon is mufshit, since Adas, that's his Ratzon, that's his Kavanah, Mitzad the Kavanah, Vertazeh, even though the Makir is B'chlal now within the realm of Chachma being higher than Biyah.
It's not dependent on each other?
Huh?
It's not dependent on each other to have that?
That's his Kavanah. His Kavanah is that Chachma should be higher than Midas, and that Atzilus should be different than Biyah. And there it's all one Akudah.
Not one.
It's still one Akudah. It's all one Inyan, because the fact that Atzilus is higher than Biyah is all because that's his Ratzon, that's his Kavanah, not mitzad its own value. The fact that there's value to Atzilus, that's the Ratzon, that's the Kavanah. So on one hand, it's all one Akudah, but it's not Shelo the Tzir Prati of the Metzias. We'll see from the way he. Just look at the next piece. Just see this. You see what he says here? What's the pshat is kol der v'der befrat. What does it mean kol der v'der befrat? It means each der, the tzir prati, mikomekim, it's all one nekuda. It's inside the Gemara in Shoshana that every single person has his story. Mikomekim, not skirachas in one glance. You see, is that also in glance? Okay, it's one nekuda. It's all bashva. وهاي إنهم خلص متسيس مامش لخين خلهم كلهم مخشبة أخس. أول هاي كلهم بفراد أفكار. شريزو بخلص الرأس ما مخشبة إخيو إلمس. كان يبهرخ على مخشبة كافي أخل كل إلم بإزاف شيء. And even though there's a Ratzon, Visel and the Elamis, and the Elamis are each one in a davar prati, but that gufa, that's the Ratzon, that's the Kavanah. Yeah, it's a whole secretary when you get I'm saying, he says, if you see from the Lashon of the Maimer, there's he has a shayla l'choros even biyah should be nimshach b'derech. Huh? In other words, that means we'll see how he's divided, but you see that he says that in mitzvah ratzin is a kelnas hava. If you just say there's a ratzin gali leilams, so you see the parsha, you see the mashal of ratzin or the mashal of mayim. Let's see the mashal of mayim. Ak is not mugbal to tzir prati of mitzias. He's a ratzin from mitzias. It means he's mushit from tzir prati of mitzias. There could be any mitzias. A lot in the beginning, in another place next to this. The mashal for Adam Kadman is from Nefesh Nesikeiches. The Nefesh is not, since the Nefesh is mufshit, he's not mitzur and it's prati. Therefore, anything could come from him. He's not limited. Since Ak is not a specific form of, he's not Atzilus and he's not Bia. He doesn't have any limit of what type of mitzvahs. The etzem inin of mitzvahs. He's not mugder. So therefore, there could be Atzilus, Bia, there could be anything. But there's no Atzilus in Bia. Understand what I'm saying? Usually, when you say the word that he's right, say he's mufshit. There's no Atzilus and Bia there. He's higher than Atzilus and Bia. Here he's saying that within Adam Kadman, there's Atzilus and Bia. What does it mean there's Atzilus and Bia? It means there's a chiluk than Atzilus and Bia. So the Adam Kadman is mufshit from Atzilus and Bia. You understand what I'm saying? So on one hand, we see it Bia as Nivra, Atzilus Atzvitir. The truth is that Atzilus and Bia, the whole Mitzvah Eilamis is, that's the Kavanah. There's a certain Ratzin Eliki that's Nishlam through this whole Seder Shlashlis. This Ratzin Eliki is not Mugbal, it's taken not Mugder. And the Ratzin is, we're Mitzayir, not Mugder, therefore, so he's beyond Tzir. So this Ratzin is not, he's for sure not Mugder, and Oliver Tzayne, his Kavanah is there should be this Mitzias. And if that's the Kavanah, is Gavarnazeh. So what's there's Oliver Tzayne Elam is beyond the whole. It says the whole Sipur Adairis. It's going to be until every single prat is Oliver Machshavak Dumadak. Whereas every single thing that's going to take place, that's the Kavanah. We're not dealing with the Kavanah Ha'atzbus now, the way it is in Atzbus. The Kavanah which relates to Elamis. The Eivish plan Kaviyachol, or his Ratzin of how Elamis should take place. A Tnu of Ratzin Goli. This Ratzin Goli is a Ratzin of how Elamis should be. And how Elamis should every Elam achvez the Prati Advar. And there, the Ratzin Goli Elamis, the difference is not Ratzin Goli B'chlal, there's an Etzim. Ratzin Goli, there's a demand for Elamis. There's a Eidus Ratzin for Elamis. There's a certain Tnu of Makar, of Agdama for Elamis. There's a Ratzin Elamis, whatever way we're going to teach it. And that's the Amitas Amtzias of the Metzias Ha'elam. The difference is, you can't say it's the Amitas Amtzias of Welt. The difference is the way the Eivish is beyond a Shaykhis Ta Welt. The way the Etzim is Mushtat from a Welt. Here we're saying the way he's Reitz Ha'elam is. So there's Atzilus and Bia is B'chinas Metzias, Atzilus is Bittul. And that's all the Ratzin. So when you have the Ratzin Ha'elam is, Miyad Nesavu. What was Nesavu? B'chinas Nivra and B'chinas Elukus. It's how the Ratzin itself. But there it's all one Ratzin. It's not two separate Tinyanim. That's what he has here. Yeah, I'm just saying, but we're saying the word Ratzin Gali, you have to just see the difference. Ratzin Gali, we're saying on one hand, that's the initial madrega where there's already a tnua of a shaykhis to Welt, to Elamis. But a shaykhis to Welt, not that he's already limited within the limits, within the Metzias of Welt. The gather of Elamis Hatziel says Mechulik of Bia. This is not a part of Metzias Elamis. This is the Ratzin for Elamis. But mitzad the Ratzin for Elamis, not the Ratzin the way it is Behelim Batzmusay. The way there's a Ratzin Goli for the Metzias Elamis. And there, and since by a person, he's right. What does he want the thing? In order for the thing to take place, you have to have he's beyond the thing. L'maylev, this is the whole mitzvah of the thing, that his ratzon is nishlam, that his kavanah is nismale. What's his kavanah? One could have whole seder shlashlis, and that's the and b'meile vertigan to seder shlashlis, and not severt in a way of hafshata. That's the emes of shlashlis. Maybe agam fizer agam is the bia in the churuf from some shachem elam lagilu levad mashal dimadak. It's all one akudas haratzin. So also bia is a what are you gonna say? We're saying bia it's not in Gilei Helam because in bia herzach nicht the nekuda achas. Also atzilus herzach nicht the nekuda achas. So that's the and from the point of view of Ak, it's all one nekuda. If the reason why atzilus is Gilei Helam is because everything is already all of b'chinas Ak, and atzilus just is galus, so for the same price, also bia is also all of b'chinas Ak. And you say, yeah, but in bia herzach nicht the nekudas advarm. The way we experience bia, it's a davar mechuluk. Because we're not margish the nekuda klodos. So atzilus is also chacham chesed. Is not you're not it's not margish the eating klod. So what's the difference between atzilus and bia? Says we're killing the bia mvade b'chinas eschachos. Bein derech mamish gam legabe atzilus. Kol shkin legabe yak. Sheim b'chinas yesh mamish. Kol shkin legabe chay echad v'yesh anivra. ומאחר שיקלון באק ונסחבו שם, לא אומר מבחינת הסחטשוס. זה איך באמס הרי כן יושב מבחינת הסחטשוס. כן כמי כנראה כן מצוס, אף שיקלון, במקום כמבחינת הסחטשוס. So what does he start off? He says, אחינינו, הגם דאיפן סקול דולק מבחינת סקירס בשבוע, מקום גר יוקלון מבחינת פרט. כמציא מה צריך לדבר, זה all each פרט. והנה שאין מבחינת מציאס נא, וכן יכולים כלום משהו, אבל אני כולם בפרט דווקא. שיזהו מבחינת הרוצים והמחשבה, איך יהיו אילמס. Kim behekh alle machshave kavyach kol elo izem fi fizari alle sham de kelmat zeh bkhnes ulkus mamish ve kelm de vay bkhnes schachos da hane shi bkhnes yesh ze immer yesh is habo sham de machshave zu kanal u bolay save kod ba ka kelo bkhnes ulkus mamish bevali zokh luk mit ba gufe. You see what he's saying here? You see the back and forth. Saying is, what's the gather mitzvahs in Ak? That's the kavanah, that's the ratzon. Beyond the way we know it now. What's the mitzvahs of a table? It's the materialization of the Eibusher's ratzon, or there's a mitzvahs of a table. A few years ago, a table was created. The mitzad Ak, the pnimius advarim is, and mitzvah inin is that the fact that this is happening is because it's the Eibusher's kavanah being unfolded. That's true. But that's not the mitzvah the way we experience it, and that's the kavanah. The kavanah is that the kavanah is the shviyim mitzvah which is nirgash as davar ufnei atzmei, and there things should. But the way it is an act, it's the way we experience it is tamaziyah mitzvah. The way it is an act, that's the kavanah. However much we're going to say that all biyad neshavu, what's biyad neshavu? The mitzvah, the way we perceive it, is nicht an act. That's inside the Lamas Vesteir and Parsais. The mitzvah, that's all the kavanah. But the way it is an act is it's nirgash. That's the kavanah. That's the ratzon. Not a gather of the way we see it now. You understand what? So I want to al daras legabi atzilas also. Even the same way we're saying legabi bia. We're saying legabi bia, even though it's all one akudah. Everything's the kavanah. But the way we experience bia. It's not an unfolding of a kavanah. Why not? Because the poil des havas is not a idea kavanah. There's a couple of parsais there, and that's guf is the kavanah. But the poil the mekanish that is clear from the fact that the whole gather of mitzias, the way it is mitzad adam kadman is, there's nothing outside of the Eibusher's ratzon. There's nothing outside of the whole chshivas of reality is that kach alle b'rtzeinu. This is his ratzon. Not that there's his ratzon is as an avelt and there should be chachma, should be more than bina, but it's all azay the ratzon. That's the Indian. And that nekuda is not meir and bia. See, it's a whole back and forth. You see so what are you saying? In other words, the way it's brought over here is that the reason why Atzilus is Gilei Helam is because Atzilus is have a gevarnim chinasak. Of course, you can't say legabe bia because the mitzvah, the way it's experienced in bia, is not the way it is mitzad ak. The way it is mitzad adam kadmin, it's nirgash. That's the ratzon. That's the kavanah. Mashegen the mitzvah is the way we perceive it. Is glad as a mitzvah. Not that that's the kavanah. So pump legabe bia, you can't say gilei helen because the bia, the way we experience it, it doesn't represent the way it is from the viewpoint of Ak. Because from the viewpoint of Adam Kadmin, the whole Metzias is Ratzon Elyon. And the Metzias, the way it is today, is Tamazeh as a Metzias. That guf is the ratzon, but the fact that guf is the ratzon, that's not what its apparent being is. And that's in act, that's the whole being of Welt. That's the ratzon. So Chorat Aras Lekabi Atzilus also. In Atzilus also Chacham Chesed Zachshivis. The fact that that's the ratzon, that Lechor is not married. Of them, that's nicht das. That's the reason Mechalik here. In Atzilus, even the way Chacham Chesed is Gal as Chacham Chesed, it's nirgish that the fact that Chacham is higher than Midas is because that's the kavanah, that's the ratzon. The bittul, the way it is in Ak, is nirgish Atzilus. That's its Gilehela. Mashikin in Biyah, this prat that everything is the ratzon is not made in Biyah. That's the kavanah. That's the kavanah, and that's the way it's all of b'chinas agufa. You understand the nakoda that he's saying? You see, there's different lashenis here. The Rebbe wants to bring out that on one hand, Ak is all b'rtzeini the mitzias kameshu hu mamish, and miyach all b'rtzeini miyad nisab. But miyad nisab, but all as the realization of the ratzon. However far you're going to say in biyah, but the kavanah of biyah, what's the ratzon in biyah? Should be a mitzvah is detached of the ratzon. But in Ak, that guf is the ratzon. And the mitzvah, the way we experience it, doesn't reflect the mitzvah the way it is in Ak. Because in Ak, even this phase of reality, but that's all and that's not the way we experience it. Mash'inkin legabi atzilis. The Atzilus, the way it is in Act, that's the way it's Nirgish in Atzilus also. It's Gilehel. Means even though in Atzilus, we don't, it's Herzach Nishan Nekuda L'chore. There's Chacham V'chesed. But in Atzilus is Nirgish, Chacham V'chesed, because that's the Ratzon. Not because Chacham, not because in Atzilus we're dealing with Chacham V'chesed. But Etzem, there's a Lakus which is Mufshit from Chacham V'chesed. No, that's the Kavan Al that's the Ratzon. This bittul, the way it is in Adam Kadman, is Nirgish in Atzilus. Why is that good? Because that guf is the kavanah of an act. The ratzon is there should be a darga of atzilus, which there is meir damas, and atzilus should be behemshech to act, and there should be a gather of biyah, which should not be behemshech to biyah. To act. There's kama pratim. You understand the general?
The parsa between biyah and atzilus.
B'amitas ha'inyanim, everything's all about the kavanah and the chatchil in act is there should be a biyah, which is after a parsa, and if all about saying miyad nesav, but miyad nesav, what is all the ratzon? You understand what I'm saying? It's always the ratzon. Yeah, I'm not just verstehen. We'll continue this next week.